First of all, thank you, and good afternoon, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you to Todd Mariani, who will absolutely talk in just a moment. I appreciate your time as well. And I want to talk about something that's so important right now. As a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and the Aviation Subcommittee, I know the challenges facing our aviation system and the incredible people who keep it safe every single day. Earlier this year, I visited the Air Route Traffic Control Center in Olathe and saw the pressures on controllers after the president fired aviation staff across the country. What I saw was sobering. Our air traffic controllers are already overworked, underpaid, and facing critical staffing shortages, and the demands on them keep growing. And now this government shutdown is only making it worse. Air traffic controllers, technicians, and aviation employees are still showing up to work. But this week, many missed their first paycheck due to this shutdown since the shutdown began. And I want everyone to see this. This is a screenshot of a pay stub that I was texted from a Kansas air traffic controller. And as you can see, it says $0. But this is about more than the numbers or lack thereof on this pay stub. This is about families. This is about our neighbors, our community members that need the money from the work they're doing to pay for groceries, rent, bills, and they're not getting it because Congress can't do its job. And while I am absolutely proud to support new legislation to make sure that our aviation professionals are paid, it is just a Band-Aid. What we really need to do is get the government back open because this impacts so many people. The impacts on aviation are serious. Safety critical maintenance and inspections are being delayed. Staffing shortages and mandatory overtime are putting even more pressure and stress on employees. Travel disruptions are hitting both commercial and general aviation. And every day that this continues, we put more pressure on the people who are keeping the flying public safe and their livelihoods. The livelihoods of our aviation professionals are at unnecessary risk. So I want to be really clear about this. This is Congress's fault. It's not the fault of the hardworking people who are keeping our skies safe. And we absolutely need to do better. And I'm joined today by Todd Mariani, who retired earlier this year after decades as an air traffic controller. Todd served as Kansas City's air traffic controller union president during the 2018-2019 shutdown. And he knows firsthand the real human cost of these shutdowns, the toll it takes on morale, on safety, and really on the hardworking families that are our community. This is our community we're talking about. And our aviation system is only as strong as the people who keep it running. And they have been keeping it running. We are so fortunate to have so many amazing aviation air traffic controllers, safety specialists. And right now, they're literally under attack by political dysfunction in Washington. It's why I have been and will continue to fight and push for bipartisanship. I'm fighting for solutions that are going to protect aviation safety and workers. And I'm fighting for a government that's actually working for Kansans, that's working for literally everyday Americans. So, Todd, I'm gonna turn it over to you now to share some of your experience during the last shutdowns and some of the lessons that we need to carry forward.
Thank you, Representative Davids. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak on the impacts of this current shutdown. As you mentioned, I was the union president from 2018 until 2025. And unfortunately, I was there for the 2018-2019 35-day government shutdown and did see how it affected our aviation safety and our workforce. I believe today marks the 30th day of this current shutdown, and I'm praying we don't break the record of the 35-day, but we'll see how that goes. As you mentioned earlier this week, controllers received their first $0 paycheck. In addition, 2 weeks ago, all controllers received a partial paycheck. They were missing up to 1 to 5 days of pay, depending on their days off. but they had only a partial paycheck 2 weeks ago. Air traffic controllers were highly skilled, highly trained public servants who take great pride in working the world's most complex air traffic system that moves more than 3 million people and 60,000 tons of cargo each and every day. We do it safely, we do it efficiently, and we're extremely reliable. During shutdowns, these dedicated workers were required to report to work every day and without pay, creating unnecessary stress for them and their families. It's already a demanding profession. And keep in mind that we are at a 10-year staffing low, some 3,800 certified controllers short of what our goal is. I say that because that means many controllers in many facilities, including the ones in Kansas, work 6 days a week and up to 10 hours a day. The added stress of when am I going to get paid is not something that they should be thinking about. Prolonged shutdowns also weaken the safety systems by delaying maintenance, training, certification programs that are critical to keeping our skies safe. In addition, our one school, I mentioned we were 3,800 controllers short, our one school located in Oklahoma City is closed and those classrooms are empty during a shutdown. For those students to ramp back up, we're probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 weeks behind schedule. And you might say 6 to 8 weeks is not that big of a deal, but it is when you're 3,800 controllers short. Every day makes a difference. Now, some additional ripple effects throughout the entire aviation industry are delayed flights, disrupted operations, delays, low morale, burnout. In the 2018 shutdown, we actually had controllers quit the agency, quit the FAA in search of other jobs. We cannot expect the aviation system to run at full strength when people responsible for it are forced to work under financial strain. Questions like, how do I pay my mortgage, my rent, my car note? How do I pay for childcare? How do I pay for my family's prescription medication? How do I put gas in my car to get to work as this prolongs and gets longer and longer and longer? Do I put more on my credit card and go further into credit debt? Do I take out a loan just to get by? These are real questions, I should say, asked by controllers back in 2018, and they're still being asked today. And keep in mind what a gallon of gas cost in 2018 versus what it does in 2025. I really appreciate Representative Davids' continued attention and her commitment to finding a bipartisan solution that protects all of our aviation workers, passengers, and the integrity of the national airspace system. So thank you. Air traffic controllers did not start this shutdown, and it's not our responsibility to end it. We just want to be compensated for the work that we provide. To end shutdowns forever, so there are no more shutdowns, we need a stable and predictable funding stream, not a continuing resolution that continues to kick the can down the line. And to end this shutdown, we need bipartisan support and bipartisan cooperation to get the government reopened sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you taking the time to be here and to share the real life stress that folks are feeling. I also, we'll get into questions. I appreciate everybody for being here. Again, as someone who sits on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, this is something that I have certainly uh, been educated on. And Todd, you have helped play a role in that. So I appreciate your perspective. And I hope that from what folks are hearing, particularly from Todd, that these are not abstract policy debates. This is literally people's livelihoods. Every single day that the government is shut down is another day of uncertainty for every single federal employee, for our farmers, for active duty service members, and so many more people across the country. This is why it is so important that we put partisanship aside and get the government back open. Kansans don't expect folks to come out to Washington and agree on everything, but Kansans do expect us to be at the negotiating table, and especially when we're talking about jobs and futures being on the line here. So I'm going to keep pushing for bipartisan cooperation to reopen the federal government and to get our aviation workforce paid and every other federal employee who is serving the American public. So again, thank you all for joining us. I'm going to open it up to questions, and I believe Zach will manage that process.
Yeah, well, thank you both. And we can now take some questions. Feel free to raise your hand if you do have one, and I can give you the permission to speak. Okay, well, looks like we don't have any questions today, but like I said, we will make sure to send a recording of this out afterwards. Thank you, Rep. Davids. Thank you, Todd, for being here, and hope to talk to you all soon. Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you all.